Okay, we may as well get started. We've got a few more people that have arrived. Thank you very much. My name is Liz. I'm going to be telling you all about the awesome Kimberley region that Coral Expeditions travels to. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent out following the this at the end of the journey. But it will take a couple of days to get through as we send it through, and then that way you can share it with your family and friends or recapture the moments. I'd like to start off with a short documentary that we produced and recently aired on Channel 10. You can watch the full documentary, which is about 30 minutes, via our YouTube channel. The documentary was filmed entirely on board our vessel last year and gives you a first-hand insight from our guests and crew about the pristine, wild and untouched lands of the Kimberley. On board with us, the pioneers of expedition cruising in the Kimberley. So make sure you check it out. It only goes for 30 minutes and it is a great watch. But this one doesn't go for 30 minutes. This is a short capture of it.
I've never seen anything like it, and it's here in Australia.
The scenery, the art, it's just been an amazing experience.
There's nothing like seeing it in person.
You just get this sense of time and space and colour. It's a very special, almost spiritual experience.
You'll enjoy every single moment of it.
So now come with me as I take you through the beautiful Kimberley. We've been visiting the Kimberley for over 30 years, consecutive years that is. In the 90s, we completed our first Kimberley voyage as the first ever expedition cruise operator to explore the region. Being one of the original Australian flagged expedition pioneers, this has allowed us to create the perfect expedition cruise the Kimberley has to offer. September last year, that's September 23, last year, wrapped up our Kimberley season with a total of 52 departures and hosting over 4,000 passengers. We're also proud to announce that we achieved an excellent overall satisfaction with a 5 out of 5 rating from 96% of guest feedback for our whole 23 season. And that is an amazing accomplishment. We have 3 types of Kimberley voyages that we offer. The traditional one that we have is the 10-night Kimberley cruise that operates from Darwin to Broome or Broome to Darwin, and it covers the main icons of the Kimberley. We depart in April and we travel through to September each year. We have all 3 vessels in the region every year. A frequently asked question is, which direction should I go? And it honestly doesn't matter. The Kimberley has a lot of scattered islands, therefore, whichever side of the ship you're on, and with the moving tides, you'll have beautiful scenery all the way around. Whether you start in Darwin or Broome, you are going to start or end with a highlight, and you have so many highlights in between. We also have another 10-night Kimberley voyage. However, this one is an art and culture themed tour. Very similar itinerary to the 10-night Kimberley cruise. However, this itinerary is more focused on the arts and culture of the Kimberley and Tiwi Islands, which are located just north of Darwin. There will be opportunities to visit an art centre where you can purchase traditional and contemporary art directly from the source, as well as our hand-selected guest lecturers who will share their knowledge on the cultures and traditions of the local communities along the way. This Kimberley itinerary really is an added bonus with getting to visit the Tiwi Islands as well as the main Kimberley icons. The other Kimberley voyage that we do is what we're classifying as a Kimberley icon. It is slightly longer. It is a 12-night itinerary and it travels out to Ashmore and the Raleigh Shoals. It departs Darwin and Broome in September. This itinerary combines our classic 10-night Kimberley itinerary with a visit to the spectacular Raleigh Shoals, Marine Park and Ashmore Reef. This itinerary will give you the opportunity to snorkel or dive and and diving is an optional extra at some of the world's best marine parks, which are home to over 200 species of coral and almost 700 species of fish, many which are not found on other coral reefs. So that is a nice way to do something different, but also still get to see the best of the Kimberley. I had the pleasure, yes, that's me, that was many years ago though, I had the pleasure of doing a Kimberley voyage when I first commenced here at Coral Expeditions, and that was over 8 years ago. And I did my voyage in September, which is the wild migration season. At that point in time, I was unaware of the beauty of the Kimberley, and an eye-opener it was. I've explored many parts of Australia and the world, but the beauty and surprises of the Kimberley still astound me to this day. And I really look forward to going back one day. And fortunately, I work here at Coral Expeditions, so I may be able to get back on another voyage. It really is hard to describe how truly magical, wild, vast and epic the Kimberley is, but I hope my insights from my experience will help you plan your next bucket list. And for those that have already booked and travelling with us later this year, you will most certainly enjoy the trip as well. Falls, or Umari Falls, in the Western Australia's highest twin waterfalls, and a visit to these falls are one of the highlights of the Kimberley Expedition cruise with us. Before we reach the falls, you will enjoy a scenic cruise in our Explorers up King George River, where you will be mesmerised by the orange sandstone cliffs which frame the river. We were lucky enough to cruise up the river at sunrise, which made the colours of the emerald green waters and the orange cliffs an incredible experience to witness. Once we reached the falls, you could take the option to get up closer to the 80-metre waterfalls by transferring in the Zodiacs. For the brave or the crazy like myself, you can get up very close and go under the falls, which was an incredible experience. So much fun and lots of laughs. There will be few opportunities along the trip to have a Kimberley shower, so don't forget to pack your swimmers. And just going up King George River and having a look, these cliffs are just awesome. They're, as I said, 80 metres high, and as you have a look at it, it's just spectacular. The Kimberley is also very well known to view rock art galleries, including Jar Island rock art, where we've got to view the Gwion arts. There were walking options that ranged from easy, medium and hard, so everyone was able to experience this incredible artwork and learn the stories. It was so mind-blowing to learn the stories behind the art creations, and to be able to see it in real life was a real privilege. Can you imagine just walking up to art that was produced so many thousands of years ago, and you're in the middle of nowhere and it just appears, you're mesmerised by what you see on the rocks and how talented they are. In the afternoon, after we visited the artwork, we headed out on the Explorer to Anjo Peninsula. We got to explore the C3 plane wreck, whilst Quinton, our GL guest lecturer, educated us on the remarkable survival story of the US Air Force. Whilst we were here, we got to stretch our legs and explore the surrounding salt flats, searching for bees, birds, crabs, wildflowers and baobab trees. To finish off another amazing day on our way back to the Coral Discoverer, we were surrounded by dolphins. So our short trip back in the Explorer turned into a dolphin cruise, which was a lovely surprise. Mitchell Falls is an optional heli flight day experience that you can do. It is a 20-minute journey up the Mitchell Falls, and you go up to the plateau up Mitchell Falls, have a look, and then you get to explore the region whilst the helicopter returns back to the ship, which is down at Prince Frederick Harbour, to bring up the other guests. There is an expedition leader up here with you. You're not going to be left alone up at the falls by yourself, but you'll be able to wander around the falls and the plateaus in this beautiful area, have a look at the open lands, but also take in the magnificent waterfalls as we go through. At certain times of the year, you'll be able to swim in the small ponds that are located up at the plateau. And of course, being so high up, there's no crocodiles in this particular area. The helicopter flight is an optional extra, but it is a true highlight of the trip. You can book the helicopter flight whilst you're on board the ship, and it costs approximately $900 per person. But another highlight is, as you're flying over the Mitchell River, the doors are off the helicopter, so you've got great vantage points to take amazing photos as you go through. For those that decide not to do the heli flight, you'll get to enjoy a cruise up Porosis Creek to spot wildlife. Porosis Creek is located in Prince Frederick Harbour, which is one of the Kimberley's most spectacular locations. The harbour is dotted with islands lined with mangroves and monsoon rainforests. Make sure you pack your binoculars, as the mangroves are a perfect hiding spot for crocodiles and bird life. White-bellied sea eagles and other birds of prey are often seen here, and at low tide, expansive mudflats reveal large populations of mud skippers and mangrove crabs. As we aim for 2 shore excursions a day, the guests that did the heli will get a chance to cruise up Porosis Creek as well, and then another opportunity to go up another creek and have a look at the tide searching for wildlife again. So those that opt not to do the helicopter flight, you won't miss out on any shore excursions. King Cascade is reached via Prince Regent River, where you will enjoy a leisurely cruise in the Explorer, and it's a good opportunity to spot more bird life and hopefully some crocodiles. We were lucky enough to have a croc greet us as we entered the Cascades. The cruise up the river is approximately 27 kilometres, therefore we are one of the small handful of operators that can actually visit this majestic spot due to the comfort and power of our custom-built Explorer tenders. It is simply just too far to travel up this distance on the inflatable Zodiacs. King Cascade is a beautiful terraced waterfall that is one of the most photographed in the Kimberley. Falling from a considerable height, water tumbles down a staggered terrace of Kimberley sandstone, which has layers of moss and ferns, which looks like a lovely hanging garden. The explorers nose into the Cascades and give everyone the chance to have another Kimberley shower. So make sure you're packing your swimmers, and our crew will have a fresh towel for you after. But I do suggest that you take a windproof jacket for the journey back, as it might be a little bit cool. A significant site in the early history of Australia, Philip Parker Kim, aptly named nearby Careening Bay after he beached his leaking vessel HMSC Mermaid to do repairs. This was stranded on the remote coastline for 17 days, and the ship's carpenters carved HMC Mermaid 1820 into the bottle-shaped trunk of the baobab tree near the beach. 200 years later, the mermaid baobab tree has since split into 2 trunks, as you can see here in the photo, and is about 12 metres wide now. There is a nice beach walk near the backwater, which is a great opportunity to stretch the legs and view a local bowerbird nest before returning to the ship. When I did this, visited the baobab tree, there was no elevated or no boardwalk there. So we were walking on the terrains of the destinations going through. So they've made it much easier to get and more accessible to get to see the baobab trees. Montgomery Reef. This was an amazing day. It appears twice a day as the sea recedes in massive 11-metre tides. We set our alarms early and head off at dawn to witness the reef emerging at sunrise. As the tide falls, Montgomery Reef rises from the ocean in a cascade of rushing water, revealing a flat-topped reef. We cruise along the inlet in the Explorers, whilst guests take the opportunity to transfer in our Zodiacs to get a closer look at the water gushing off the reef and the bird life taking advantage of the emerging reef, feeding on marine life left exposed in the rock pools. You might even be fortunate enough, as I was, I got to see crocodiles and sea snakes in this particular area, and it was just amazing to have them swim past the Explorer tender. We also transfer guests onto the Zodiac tenders, which travel alongside of us, and we put them in the Zodiacs to be able to get up the smaller or more shallow rivulets or the areas of those channels that you can see. So it gives you a closer look into the reef structure. Part of this particular day is spent enjoying sunset drinks on a remote beach location. Depending on the tides during the voyage, you may get to enjoy sunset drinks on a nearby sand cay overlooking Montgomery Reef, like I did, or you might be able to see it at the end of the day as we're all back on the ship and having the sunset drinks. Horizontal falls. This was an incredible experience to be able to do this. And I like how the ship actually just bases itself in Talbot Bay, so we can still watch all of the other guests going and having fun as they go through the horizontal falls. It's very uplifting, and the buzzing with all of the guests when I was on board were buzzing with adrenaline. Our skipper, who led us through the falls on one of the Zodiacs, told us that was safe to hang on and make sure that we're in safe hands. He explained everything very thoroughly and most of all gave us an epic experience. Even our eldest guests on board, some of them 80 plus, got to experience this once in a lifetime opportunity, and we were asking to go again and again. We even had a few fist pumps from them as they walked back along the red carpet, which is laid out to protect as you get back on the ship, but it's also making you feel like a real celebrity as you go through. We have a Zodiac with our expedition team just as you're about to head into the falls to capture your photos, so you don't need to worry about holding onto your camera as you go through. You can enjoy the entire experience and actually just take in the surrounding areas. A little tip for you: the ship will be anchored, as I said, at Talbot Bay, and it's not far from the falls, but make sure you look over the side of the ship, especially at night, and say hello to the friendly local tawny sharks that like to hang around the ship at night. They get attracted to the lights, and we saw about 50. When I did it, we actually even hand-fed them. The crew hand-fed them some pilchards and everything. So it was a different way, different experiences, different opportunities. Nares Point is a great example of the incredible rock formations that you'll get to witness and that you get to witness plenty of throughout the Kimberley voyage. So if you're a rock enthusiast, you will be in heaven. To get to Nares Point, you will enjoy a cruise through whirlpool tides and learn the stories of sailors and their challenges over the years. They actually had to navigate through the extreme tides of the Kimberley without all the modern navigation facilities that we have nowadays. There is a beautiful beach nearby to Nares Point where we can beachcomb and search for microbats and caves, coral footprints and native flowers. The Lassipedes, a true bird haven. This is a migration spot for many of the birding areas, and supporting up to 18,000 breeding pairs of brown boobies, as well as significant breeding area for the green sea turtles. We get to explore the island lagoons by Zodiac and explorers to spot many species of the birds. I have never seen so many turtles in one place in a lifetime. I was able to see 6 turtles laying along or resting up along the beachfront area, and each of those turtles, female turtles, had a male turtle behind them. And I kept on hearing this slapping sound. I was just like, what is that? And the expedition leader told me it was because that lady turtle, that female turtle, had enough of that male turtle and she wanted him to get off. But little did I know that there was more turtles, another turtle waiting to have their turn. But so it was a lot of activity going on during that time, and it was you need to make sure you have your cameras ready. The Kimberley is not short on wildlife. There will be opportunities to spot white-bellied sea eagles and other birds of prey during the low tide at Porosis Creek, which I mentioned earlier, and it is home to abundant wildlife. Crocodiles frequent these waters, and you will often find mudskippers and mangrove crabs on the mudflats on the low tides. Seasons in the Kimberley are the waterfall season, which is generally March to May. However, due to rain this year, we were lucky to still have the waterfalls later on in the year. we're still travelling up there, and the ships are actually reporting, the crew reporting that the waterfalls are still flowing. Then the whale season is at the end of the season, so August through to October, and it's the best time to sight humpback whales which migrate to the Kimberley waters as they head north. So it's a great spotting all year round. So there's no particular time that we say when is the best time to visit the Kimberley. You've got 3 seasons. You've got the waterfall season, you've got the nice peak season in the middle where the weather is nice and warm and the sun is shining, but it's cool of the night time, and then you go into the whale watching season, the whale season. And that, as I said, towards the end of our season. That's why we also operate the seasons from April through to September, October each year to give the best of the Kimberley. There is so much to offer. We've now come to the end of our Kimberley journey because we've travelled from Darwin to Broome, or if you're travelling from Broome to Darwin, you would have done the Lassipedes first. So everything just operates in reverse. I'm going to now play you a short video, and then after that, I will tell you about our amazing vessels that we have.
Coral Expeditions are the pioneers of Kimberley cruising. With over 30 years' experience, our local knowledge is unrivaled. Our small ships are designed to explore and connect, with fewer guests and more time ashore. Our local crew guide the way with Australian hospitality and pride. Join us on a classic Australian adventure. Cruise with the pioneers. Coral Expeditions.
Okay, I'm now going to tell you about our amazing vessels that we have, and each of these vessels are beautiful and warm and comfortable, and they are serviced by our Australian New Zealand crew. We like to be able to go through, we try to and have a nice personable experience on board, and we also like to have offshore drinks and sometimes barbecues as well, depending on the tides, depending on the weather as well. So I'll just tell you a little bit about these as well. This is just going to be a short video to explain about the long-standing service that we've got by our amazing crew that we have.
You come back on board, and if you didn't have a talk beforehand, it's explained to you. That's been amazing. And to have a guest lecturer, an Indigenous guest lecturer, is wonderful.
If you find a paperbark tree, it stores a lot of water, fresh water.
Goimer's been wonderful with all his knowledge.
So for us, it's about interpreting, through storytelling and demonstrations and workshops and just getting the full experience.
One of the other amazing things about having Goimer on board is that he'll pick up some sticks and leaves and make it into a traditional medicine.
When you're feeling sick, very sick, this is what we used to do. Stringy bark. This thing is very powerful, bush medicine. Cutting it. So once the Mikassans came from Indonesia, they brought this yiki. We call this yiki knife. Not only knife, tobacco, and many other things. So they were like our guys from Bunnings.
He's got such a wonderful personality. He's great.
Sitting through some of their onboard presentations, you're so much more attuned the next day when you go into a region, and it just really adds to the experience when you're out on an excursion.
So I worked with the Coral Expedition through adopted father of mine. His name is Ian Morris. Ian kind of became adopted by my grandparents, and my grandfather was Ian's mentor.
In order to learn Indigenous science up there, I had to be good at language. I began learning the Indigenous languages very young. Then the old men could talk to you and tell you all the fine details. They didn't know how to say it in English. And that's what happened in Australia. English dominated, and it meant that Indigenous people weren't able to express all the fine details that they had. And it's very sad because the price we had to pay for that sort of linguistic ignorance was we lost all the knowledge that they had accumulated over 65,000 years of managing this land. It was the key to the whole environment, and it sort of stopped with language. So I was really keen to learn that stuff, their language and their science, and I was in heaven.
So that's how I got to know Ian, and that's how I got to learn from him as well.
I love that story, and to this day, Ian still is one of our well-loved expedition guest lecturers, or as we have on board, and Gorma is really making a name for himself. But all of our guest lecturers are incredible, and we have a strong following. Many of our return guests will actually say, "Who's the captain? Who's the purser? Who are the expedition team?" So they like to get to know the crew, and they want to know them all by first name. We provide an overall relaxed atmosphere and all-inclusive experience on board. We can watch your evening meals being prepared by the local ingredients, as the chefs have an open galley that you can watch. We can go up into the bridge and talk to the captain and the deck and the bridge crew to find out where we are and what we're doing, and have a bit of navigational teachings on how to read the charts. We all-inclusive, so once you're on board the ship, all you have to do is unpack your gear, make sure you have a smile, and getting ready for a fun adventure as we explore the beautiful Kimberley and other destinations. We have 3 vessels in our Australian flagged fleet, and they are all designed for subtropical climates. They feature wraparound decks, private balconies on some of our staterooms, and outdoor dining areas so you can enjoy the famous Kimberley sunsets. The shallow draft and high manoeuvrability of these purpose-designed expedition ships lets you get closer to explore the sheltered bays and hidden inlets inaccessible to the larger vessels that are going in the region. The smallest of our vessels, the Coral Discoverer, she accommodates 72 passengers in 36 twin-share staterooms. She's very comfortable. She's turning 16 this year, and she has undergone multiple refurbishments. All of the staterooms are outward facing, and that goes for all 3 vessels, and they are as I said, twin share or junior king beds. So you just need to tell us how you would like the bedding configuration set up. We also have an option for sole use guests as well. The Coral Adventurer, we took delivery of her in 2019. She started being built in 2018. And she has 60 staterooms, with accommodating 120 passengers, a maximum of 120. She's all 3 ships are of similar design, and we like to have that large outdoor area and lovely indoor space as well. Then the sister ship of the Coral Adventurer is the Coral Geographer. She was delivered in March 2021. Therefore, she is the newest in our fleet. Again, a maximum of 120 passengers. There is a gym and internal lift on the Coral Adventurer and Geographer. However, you will still need to have reasonable level of mobility to be able to use the stairs in the event of an emergency as we go through. Most importantly, we do have the unique safari jeeps of the sea, or the Explorer tenders. These are purpose-built to be able to get you, our guests, to do their shore excursions as we go through. They protect you from the hot summer, which is a priority, especially in the Kimberley. There's an audio system for clear commentary. There's a toilet on board for remote convenience, because you don't want to be having to go behind a tree when you're over there. And they're full of open air, and they've got the clears that will go down in case of bad weather. We also ensure on all of our shore excursions that we carry fresh water, and we're in contact with the mothership or the larger ships as we go through. And we also have the ramps for easy landings, being wet or dry. So you can see how the guests are stepping off at the front of the ship. Also, on that top right-hand corner, you can see how the guests step across from the ship, across into the tender. Everyone sits down on the comfortable seats. It is lowered into the water, and then takes off. You leave the platform, and then you start doing your shore excursion. We do have Zodiacs on board as well, and we use these to do the more adventurous, so the likes of the Horizontal Falls, or as I said, Montgomery Reef, but they are also there as a safety vessel. So they will always travel with our Explorer tenders as we take our guests on the Explorer tenders up the creek or Prince Frederick Harbour, in those areas, just there as a preventative, just in case scenario. Our guest lecturers like to share their knowledge. So we have all of our lectures and presentations up in the Bridge Deck Lounge. And we were one of the first cruises to operate and employ interpretive guides on our cruises. And it's a tradition that continues today. Each trip includes a mix of our full-time guest lecturers who join the expedition team and special guest lecturers who are chosen for their specific local knowledge. They immerse our guests on the unique wildlife in the environments we visit, and that is a big part of what Coral Expeditions is all about. Expert guides, our expert guides do lead the way as we go through. They have been travelling here for over 3 decades, and they know the hidden gems that a lot of the others don't. Our expedition team provide local expeditions with a strong understanding of the unique landscapes, flora and fauna, and Indigenous cultures of the region. Our passionate expedition leaders are on board and take our guests on excursions every day. We don't hand you over to land-based tour companies. We focus on more time on shore with at least 2 shore excursions daily. The shore excursions generally have 2 options. In the Kimberley, any of the land-based excursions will be walking on uneven ground. The walks are never more than 1 to 2 kilometres, so we do recommend to bring a walking pole for stability and sturdy walking shoes for the rocky and sandy surfaces. There is also an option for everyone who doesn't feel like walking. You can stay on board the Explorer and do a comfortable coastal cruise. The expedition team will do a daily briefing over sunset drinks and give you an overview for what's happening on the agenda for the following day. If you have a look at the top of your screen, you'll see a chat icon, so please do put your questions in there and I'll try to answer them after the next video. Sorry, there was no video. I do apologise. I've moved my slides around. I forgot to update my notes there. But if you do have some questions, please put them through. And as I said, you can contact our reservations team via the phone number or go into your preferred travel agent who would be more than happy to help you with any of your inquiries. We do work closely with our trade partners, and a lot of them know us all by first name, and our reservations team are very well versed in the what is available for our guests to experience. I'd like to thank you for joining us, and as I said, if you've got any questions, please share them with me now. Thanks, Sue, for saying it looks super. I really appreciate that you've had a chat. Okay, there's no questions coming through, so I'm going to finish the webinar here. But thank you, and please do reach out to Coral Expeditions, and we look forward to welcoming a few of you on the Kimberley voyage later this year. I was having a look at the bookings, and there's actually quite a few of you who are already booked on. Thank you.